Hey, Maria. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, we made it, kind of.
Yes. Just let someone else in. I think I did set it to just automatically start recording, so I'm gonna just
Okay.
leave it on so we don't forget to start it later.
Okay, so give me sharing permissions.
I just made you co-host, so I
Okay.
think you should be able to.
Okay. And then the only thing I need to make sure is that we can this the when we share a video that we can share the audio.
When you click share, there should be it's like a little checkbox in the corner that says share with audio.
Perfect. I just saw it. Good. Okay. So, and we're good to do the slides, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then I'll point I have it on the slide um that we have the workbook, but those who don't can just follow along on the screens.
Yep.
But maybe we can still give them a link to the workbook.
Um,
Um,
I'm trying to
Hi,
get in.
Bob, and hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Who- Good. What's your name?
I'm Ken, Alberta.
oh, hi, Ken.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good. How about you?
It's been a long time since I zoomed anything, so
Oh,
I'm kind of relearning myself here.
Is it
nope.
bringing you back to COVID days?
Yeah, all right. Um,
Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Angela.
are you going to have quite a few people signed up today?
No, well, depends what you define. We don't think so. We're gonna have
Okay,
five of us,
okay,
me and Maria plus five mentors is what we're expecting,
good.
which is actually good. We wanted to do virtual to try to get a bunch of people, but since this is our first time doing this training virtually, we're actually excited to kind of be able to actually talk through things a little bit more with you guys and see how it goes.
Sounds good. Let me turn the light down here.
So we will, yeah, give everyone a few more minutes to get the last
Sure.
couple of people, and then we'll do introductions with everyone here in a few minutes.
Okay. I'm going to go get some water.
Perfect.
Oh, that's good.
I just let your note taker in, Maria. I don't know if you want them
Oh,
in.
thanks. I thought I told it no.
Do you want me to?
No, it's fine.
At this,
Just queuing up my videos. Okay. Let's see, Naomi, was that you at paddleboarding? Oh, you're muted.
yeah, yes,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was there too.
yeah,
Did
it
you have
was
any
fun.
good wipe? Did you have any good wipeouts?
No, actually, but the wind was strong. It was close a couple times, but we recovered quickly. So,
I liked it. How did you think it went?
oh, I thought it was great, fantastic. The safety training was good refresher and good to the little card, that little handout, good to look through that. And it was just the right amount of time. I think any longer would have been too long.
Mhm.
Um, but it was just the right amount of time. It was starting to get hot and even more windy. So I'm glad we got our ride in.
Nice. Can I edit your name? Is it Naomi?
It is.
Okay. I'm gonna just edit the name down here so we have that. And then it looks like we have more people just not on camera. So we have Bob. Maria's note taker, which doesn't count. Um, Hi, Bob, and we have
Hello.
Roxana. You made it, Bob.
Yep.
Good. Good to see you.
Hi there, this is Roxana.
Hi, Roxana. Good to have you. And then Angela, is that everybody, or are we gonna have more?
We are waiting on a Nikki and a Victoria. Oh, and
Okay.
Melissa is joining. She just came in.
Yeah, Melissa's joining. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead just so we can kind of stay on track. We have a tight timeline. I'm going to get us started. And even if anybody joins after Angela's moderating, so she can get them going. But really, we just have, can you guys all see my screen? Is that
Mhm.
Mentor Deep Dive? Like, welcome. Can anyone see that?
Yep.
I just want to make sure everyone can see the screen. All right. Well, welcome to the deep dive. This is our first time doing virtual. So, thanks for being our guinea pigs. We're happy to have you guys. And it works well. We have a couple of you attending from Longmont, so it works really well for those of you distantly traveling. And then some of you, and we're going to do introductions here in just a second. So, but yeah, welcome to our inaugural online mentor deep dive. And it's called Hope 2025 because we hope it all works out today. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, here's what we're going to do some intros. And those of you who are not on video, I understand if you don't want to be on video, but if you don't mind being on video and you have the ability, it'd be great so that we can see you. We do expect a small group today. I think this might be everyone at this point now, but maybe waiting for one more to join us. But what we're looking for is your mentee's first name, their age, how long you've been matched, what has been the highlight of your journey, and if there's anything in particular that you would like to get from this training today, or even what your expectation might be of what this training is. So, who wants to kick us off? Who has a birthday
Again,
this summer? Okay, go ahead.
again,
Go ahead.
my mentee is Silas Pepler, and he's going to be. I'm not exactly sure. I think he's 12. We're going to be shortly 12, and we've been matched together for probably at least 3 years. And we hit it for highlights. I don't know if there's any particular highlight, but we seem to hit it off pretty well. He's a real easy kid to work with. He's his mom works at school. Gina works at school, so he's a real good student. Really haven't had any school issues. Always has his homework done, so we haven't had to do much homework. He's interesting in that he likes to try anything. He'll play any game you want to play or any kind of sport activity that you would like. He's just a good kid. I really enjoy it,
Good.
and I'm just kind of open to anything as far as the training goes today. I'm not sure what you have outlined. How much different is it than what we started with when we first joined the SOA? But
Yeah.
I'll be
Sounds
interested in watching.
good. Yeah, and Ken is actually partnered. He's been doing site-based kind of mentoring, and now recently, like probably the last 4 months, been able to go out into the community with Silas, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah, we've done a couple projects. I haven't been very good at documenting my time and stuff like that, but
oh yeah, we're
I'll
gonna write you up for that, Ken.
I'll get into that and get signed
Just
in.
kidding. Well, thanks so much, Ken. Who would like to go next? I'll just call on people for the sake of time. So Naomi, how about you?
Okay, my mentee's name is Azzy. She just turned 12. We've been matched for a year. The highlight of our journey, I guess, a couple of things. I mean, there's been ups and downs, obviously, but one highlight was when her mom, her foster mom, her mom called me to clue me into something that had happened in school, and I felt trusted in
Mm,
that regard. And as an the mom said, as an important person in Azzy's life, I really need your help and I need you to know what's going on. So that felt very good.
good.
So I would put that up there. And in particular, what I'm hoping to get from this training is similar to what I got from the initial training, which was how to know what to expect. It was very helpful to know what to expect in the first year, where there's some testing going on, and so having gone through that training, and when it came, I knew it was okay. So now that I'm going into my second year, I'm hoping to get some idea of what to expect.
Good. Yeah, that's real good. All right. How about you, Victoria?
My mentee's name is also Victoria,
Oh.
and yeah, it's really cool. She's 14, I believe, either 13. Yeah, she's gotta be 14. Highlight in our journey is that I'm a social studies teacher in the district that she is a student in. And I met her social studies teacher who she had been struggling with at a district training. And he like said what school he worked at, and then I like put the pieces together and I was like, oh, do you know Victoria? And he gave me some insight to his version of what's going wrong in social studies class for her. And so I was able to draw the bridge between them, and they ended up the year like little besties. They get along super well now. Yeah, it was really, really fun to get to use my work to make that connection for them. And she even finished with an A in social studies. Like, it was a really cool moment. And we've been matched for a year. And anything in particular? No.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thanks for being here.
Mhm.
How about you, Bob?
So my mentee is Eduardo, and he just turned 10. And we've been matched since last September, I guess. And I would say a highlight was seeing him. So he was coming to the pro group site-based meeting, like you said, like Ken's situation. And he has two brothers. Actually, I think there's more than that, but there's
Yeah, he has a lot of brothers.
three brothers that are elementary age. And so part of our time on the site-based thing is to go to the gym and play games in the gym. And initially, he really only wanted to kind of hang out with his brothers. But I kind of felt like I was able to engage him more as time went on this year. So that was the highlight.
Oh, good.
Our summer's been kind of rough, and I don't know if there's anything here that you're going to talk about that will be helpful in that way. And I don't know, it's hard to tell if it's just circumstantial. The family was gone for almost 2 months, I think, so that didn't help. And I've set up two things, then they've canceled. And the second one, he was sick, so okay. And the first one, I should have texted her on the day of it. We had made the arrangement, and then I showed up at their house and they were gone. And so we haven't seen each other much this summer.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. Yeah, that could be hard. Yeah, summer's wonky time too. And she does have quite a few children, I remember. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Bob. How about you, Roxana?
Hi, everybody. My name is Roxana, and my mentee's name is Liz. She is 16. Yeah, or about, 16. And one of the key highlights, before that, I've been seeing her since December, so almost 7 months now. I think we've been pretty consistent. One of the highlights, like 2 months ago, I started praying with her every meeting. At the end of our meetings, we would, like I suggested, we pray, right? A little bit of background is she has a lot of, she's had a lot of trouble in the past. I realized I can't change any of that more than being present. So we started praying, and she was like, it was so awkward for her at the first. I just laughed. It was so funny to me because she's like, I'm like, can we hold hands? And she's like holding my hand like, So I'm just like, it was funny, right? So we started doing that, and we've had rough moments of confrontation of like all sorts of things. But I think the highlight is that where it makes me feel not, I'm not praying necessarily for her. I'm praying that our relationship will be better every time, better and better every time. I feel that she's finally excited about our friendship, not about me taking her out, but about our friendship. So I think that's my highlight there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nikki. Welcome. I'm not sure if you saw the slides. We're just sharing our name, our mentee's name and age, and a highlight on your journey and how long you've been matched.
Okay, great. Yes, hi, I'm Nikki. My mentee is Martha. She is 12 years old. And we matched in April, I believe. So yeah, just a few months. And she's definitely very shy. It's been slow and steady. But yeah, I think a highlight has been her family has been super inclusive and very hospitable. They invite me in their house every week. And one night had me over for dinner. So, and they're Spanish speaking, and I don't speak amazing Spanish. So they've just been very gracious with the language barrier and yeah, very hospitable.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, very good. You'll know Spanish in no time, or at least you'll know all the name of the Spanish food you're having. All right. I think that's everyone, right, Ange? Do I have everyone?
Well, Melissa.
Oh, yes. Let's introduce Melissa. Melissa does not have a mentee, but go ahead and introduce yourself, Melissa.
Oh, thanks, Angela. I thought I was going to save through without getting called on. I'm Melissa. I am with Ken and Bob. We run a program up here in Longmont through a nonprofit called Pearl. And we were just meeting at a church on a weekly basis, and we just partnered with Save Our Youth so that our mentors could start doing community-based mentoring as well. So we're just learning from Save Our Youth and getting all sorts of great resources. And so I'm just here kind of learning, and I'm just really excited to hear you guys and your success stories, and just want to thank all of you for the time and energy you're giving to our youth. It's beautiful. So that's it.
And we should probably introduce ourselves. My name is Maria. I'm the program director at Save Our Youth. I will be helping to facilitate our time together. And Angela, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Angela. I am the education manager at Save Our Youth. I've been on staff for about 10 years. I've had a few different hats, but the last couple of years I've stepped into the education role, and those are the education programs for our mentees. So a lot of the tools and things that we're going to be introducing to you tonight have been under my umbrella. So I love this space of kind of most of you are in the 4 to 12 month mark, formally being matched with our program. I know Bob and Ken, you've known your mentees longer than that. So I think just you're in this sweet spot, and it's a great time to start looking ahead and being like, where are we headed? So yeah, you'll hear me speaking from my time at Save Our Youth education role. I have a mentee who is now 27. I met her when she was 15. So I've also had a mentoring hat. Maria has a mentee as well. So you're going to hear us sharing different stories, both from all the mentors we've worked with, but personally as well through some of our journey. I'm so excited to be here with you guys and interrupt, ask questions at any time.
Yeah. And our call is being recorded, and it is estimated to be about 2 hours long. So I understand if you need to take a quick, we have a break planned in our outline, but also like if you like absolutely have to go or whatever's happening, we can send that. And then everything we're sharing on the call is confidential to us. It is hard. We want to honor the youth that we're serving, but we know you also have real challenges. So if there's something really, really overtly personal about your mentee, try to use generalized terms if we're talking like mental health, family situations, things like that. But we are here to support each other. And also what I love about Zoom is it's not rude for you to also type in the chat. If you have a question, a comment, an amen, whatever, feel free to use that in the chat while we're going. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing my screen. I do have slides, but I will try to remember to take it off camera or off slide sometimes, especially when we're sharing so we can see each other. But I know not everybody got the manual in the mail necessarily. So if you didn't, we can get you a copy of one, but also digitally. Everything we're sharing on screen is what's in the manual, so you're not missing out on anything. But again, just to remind you, we do have safe sharing, so you don't have to overshare those details and everything stays here on this call with us. What to expect out of the training. So just so you know, we're like hoping what you should probably get is to recognize where you are in this journey. Everybody is in a different path. No two matches are the same. So if you hear a success story from someone talking about deep trust, great. And you're like, I've been matched for a year and the kid won't tell me anything, right? No two matches are the same. The second thing you're going to leave with is a roadmap for the journey. And what that is those of you who received the paper copy in the mail, it's an actual roadmap of like what to work on next. For those of you who did not get that, we will do our best to kind of capture some notes here with you or schedule a follow-up call to make sure we get that roadmap for you. And that's a roadmap. What kind of outcomes do we want to see with our mentees beyond just being friends, right? Being friends is the most important thing at the beginning to get that started. But what are we hoping we see to actually help transform our mentee's life and to help create lasting change? And then the third part is to reinvigorate you. I wrote that word because I knew I couldn't say it. Anyway, it's we know mentoring is hard. As Angela said, I am a mentor too. It's very hard. You have to trust the process. And my hope is that you just feel supported by other mentors on this call and by Angela and I and Save Our Youth and maybe need to remember why you started this journey because we know it's a hard journey for sure. So real quick, who did get a workbook and who did not? So Ken, it looks like you don't have one. Naomi
I
got
think,
yours. Victoria got yours. Bob apparently
No,
went
I
to
didn't get
Chicago
mine.
first. He went to New Jersey apparently. We tracked it today.
yeah.
Okay.
Ken, Ken, I just emailed you what the materials. Melissa, I'm gonna forward it to you as well. My recommendation for those of you who didn't get the material, I don't know what your computer looks like, but if you do want to open up the roadmap that I'm going to email you or that you should have on email, that's going to be your tool tonight. And then you might just jot down notes on a piece of paper next to it. And then the manual, we really did cut and copy everything onto the slide. So it's not as important to have that open in front of you. But if you want to jot down notes, the manual is what we're going through. And for those of you who do have it, you'll see it's almost verbatim on the slides. We just broke it up a little bit more. So it's like one page of your manual might be 2 or 3 slides that we're going through. So that's the best way you can follow along, jot down notes. But Melissa, Ken, I just emailed you. Bob, I emailed you this morning, I know. And Melissa, I'm going to send it to you now.
Okay. All right. So Angela is up next if you're good being next, because I know you're
Yeah.
emailing the slides.
All right.
So
Look at this
Angela's gonna just
multitasking.
kind of Angela's going to review what we call the mentor journey. And so all of you, when you became mentors, we reviewed the mentor journey early on with you. You might remember those words, show up and show interest. And so go ahead and take it over, Ange.
Yeah. So if you do want to follow along in your manual, we are on page 2 on your mentor manual. So we say you're on a mentor journey, and I love this phrase because it really is a journey. And there's different stages. Naomi, I love what you talked about, like what to expect, and some of the stages of mentoring. So we hope mostly up until this point, you've been in this first 2 categories of show up and show interest. So that's a reminder of that's been your role for the first 6 months, roughly. We know it's fluid and some will move along faster, some will be slower. But showing up is just about having consistency, doing fun activities, first time experiences. This is where trust is getting established. You and your mentee are kind of figuring out who is each other. I know whoever said their mentee's really quiet, you're trying to figure out like, is this just her personality? Is she just really shy? Is she still learning to trust? So you're in the stage of like figuring out who each other are. So showing up is really what we want you to be focusing on. So good job. You all are here at this training. That means you've been showing up. And Bob, I know you've had a couple hiccups this summer. It is normal to have some bumps in the road. You still reaching out and saying, hey, can we hang out or let's set up a time? That is you doing your part of still showing up on that piece. And then for showing interest, this is building trust. You're actively listening, being attentive. This is where you're starting to learn who is your mentee, what makes them tick. It's you asking them what apps are they using on their phone, what's the TikTok trends that they're into. These are kind of simple ways that you can start showing interest and being like, hey, even if it's different from where I'm at or what I'm into or what I care about, like I'm interested in you and your life. And this is all foundational work that's going on. Let's do a show of hand or thumbs up or something. How many of you have downloaded the Sabre Youth app that we launched a couple months ago? Sweet. Look at that. All right, we might be at 100% there. There is a QR code in case you haven't on the manual. I think that was thumbs up from everyone. Great job. Give yourself a pat on the back. The Mentor Zone app is really designed to really help in the show up, show interest stage. We give lots of kind of tips and tools and resources, but all those tickets as well, because we know sometimes finding things to do day in and day out can be challenging, or week in, week out. So utilize that app for tips and resources and what's going on in the community. And I know we're have a little tab on there too for Longmont. If you haven't seen that on the app, there is a specific Longmont tab, and I think we're still working on getting that resources and stuff up there a little bit more robust. But I know we have some activities and things up there. So after kind of you're showing up, showing interest, laying the foundation, we hope that you can start adjusting into what I just got a little bit deeper. And that's why we bring you back for deep dive training, because you've been laying a lot of foundational work. So then where do we go next? And that is where we get into the show faith and show tomorrow. Show faith is where we're just like modeling what does grace look like? We're upholding truth, we're sharing hope. And us being a faith-based organization is a huge thing that sets us apart from any other mentoring program. So we are all about not forcing beliefs on mentees. We put in grants and funding and stuff. We don't proselytize. Like our goal of mentoring is not how many kids do we convert to Christianity. But we do believe that there's a lot of hope in Jesus and in faith, and even in the secular world. I come from a social work background. Young people, families who do have a faith tend to have just a lot more positive outcomes. So it is a protective factor. So I love, even for those who aren't necessarily Christian or believers, they still can recognize research shows people with faith have just a little bit more rooted and grounding and just some better outcomes in life. So it's not a one size fit all, because you as a mentor are unique, your mentee is unique on what showing faith looks like. But our hope is that our young people are being exposed to the hope of Jesus, seeing what, hey, this is a Christian mentor who I thought I had issues with Christians, but I kind of think my mentor is kind of cooler. They're actually really nice. So there's a lot of different ways that this can look. So I'd love to hear, I think we're going to flip to the next slide, of just kind of how that show faith is going for you. So there's an option A, B, C, or D. Again, this isn't to compare or saying one is better than the other. It's just kind of an honest assessment of where are you at with your mentee on this show faith thing. There's not a right or wrong. So read through these, and I'm going to just have you just share what letter you would say most describes where you're at with your mentee. And if anyone has like just short anecdote of like, this show faith has been really challenging for me for this reason, or it's been really cool getting to do this with my mentee. I love the example of praying with your mentee, the awkward hand holding at the beginning, but that is a way that you're incorporating faith into mentoring. So we're going to pop around, and I know, kind of calling on names helps people not talk over each other. So I saw Naomi, you came off, so you go first, and then Ken, you go next.
B.
Yeah.
We've had occasional conversations. At one point she said, "Oh, I'm a girl of God." This was when shortly after the mom had called me about a challenging situation, and as he was kind of in denial, because she's a girl of God. And we also have talked about in the context of jewelry and wearing the cross and what that means, how she uses it for strength. And so,
Thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I would say B also. We always start our meeting with prayer, and because we usually have a dinner provided too. So, and we always open it up to any of the boys who would like to ask a blessing. And most of them, it's kind of a take turn type of thing. There's some of the younger ones probably not, but Silas and even Bob, Eduardo, and some of his brothers and the other ones, they're willingly step up and will offer prayer.
Thanks.
And I think it's just a good way to, to open the subject. It's an easy, everybody's together, there's no, oh, I don't know. A lot of times you get in learning situations, you feel competitive, they don't want to feel like they're, not in the group. So,
Yep.
but I don't feel like there's any pressure on them.
Yeah, good. Bob, how about for you?
Yeah, like Ken said, I would say B as well. We have structured thing. We actually maybe I don't know if it's kind of an optional activity, but with my mentee, we've always read the Bible every week, and then we have a crossword puzzle that goes with that. And my mentee is seems very very open to that and interested in the story, and a lot of times there's application outside of just what are the details of the story, but what's going on here. And we've had some good conversations, and as far as that goes, I would say we haven't really gotten to a level of more like personal, but he's also 10, so I don't know how much to expect at this point.
Yeah, got it. Thanks. Victoria?
We're at B. We pray together before every meal, and then I'll point out where I see the God in her life, and I'll point out where I see God in my life and just mention it really casually in conversation. And she's super on board, but she doesn't ask follow-up questions yet. And we haven't had an intentional conversation about it, but we're like, the understanding is there.
Great. Thank you. Nikki?
Sorry, I'm getting some dinner together after work.
You're good.
I would say B as well. Yeah, my mentee, she comes from like a really strong Catholic family, and they go to like a lot of prayer events. So it's mainly come up in like when she's talking about what her family does in their free time. But I would say when I've like asked follow-up questions, and part of it is probably because she's young, but yeah, there hasn't been a lot of in-depth conversations about faith, but she definitely, I think it's a value of hers.
Roxana?
I would say B. And I'll be very honest with you. My mentee has had a lot of trouble. So I realized, like in her personal life, so I realized honestly that perhaps faith and spirituality are, are a big part of like her finding her way to a different life. So it's like I haven't had any other option, or I don't know any other way. So there's been some times where I've called it out, like the way you're living leads to destruction, basically, because what else I'm going to say? And there's been very sweet times when we have prayed about her family, about difficult issues. So I think my relationship has been, I'd say, in between A and B, where there's nothing more. Only God can help us at this moment, basically.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Sounds like you guys are in a great spot. I'm hearing a lot of like this exposure piece. And that's perfect. And draw your attention. This slide corresponds to your actual back page of the manual on page 15. It's almost like an appendix. If you guys do need more like tools and tips for these faith conversations, feel free to read over this on your own. Our big thing is like, it's not necessarily about preaching to your mentee, but if you can ask good questions, that's going to be such a huge asset when it comes to sharing faith. So we've given you a few questions that you can ask your mentee, and it really are questions just to walk them through the gospel. And then there are some talking points, you know, if it is like, oh, here's what I think, and you could use some support on how do you structure those things. But we have just some other tips, and on the right-hand side are some ideas for how do you incorporate faith. Know that you can reach out to staff. We do have pastors on staff. We do have access to chaplaincy services too. So if your mentee is going through a real hard time or someone needs to visit them in a hospital, know that we have access to that. And then we encourage looking at the Bible Project. If you haven't checked that out before, there's some really accessible videos in almost like comic book or cartoon, but very well done videos to share a lot of gospel truths and Bible stories that mentees seem to engage with well. So that's a great tool as well if you want to just show some videos to introduce some of these faith topics to your mentee. But love all of some of those ideas. I'm hearing praying with my mentee, talking about how God shows up in my life. That's a real natural way to incorporate that. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so show tomorrow is the next step in the mentor journey. So we're back on page 2. And this is all about helping them. All right, so how do we start overcoming challenging, realizing your potential, exploring future options? We know for a lot of the young people and families in our program, they're very much in the present moment. And sometimes that survival mentality, or like when you ask them, like, what are you looking forward to? Sometimes even next week, next month, but for sure next year or in the future and stuff, lots of times they have a hard time answering that. And we know that's for a variety of reasons. So showing tomorrow is a really important step in the mentor journey, and that is where we're going to sit for a lot of the training tonight, is on what does that mean and what do we practically want you guys to be thinking about working on to show tomorrow. It's not just being like, hey, let's talk about next year, let's talk about tomorrow. Like, we want to give you some practical ways to do that that are accessible to you. The big thing I want you guys to think about is this bottom one: is the time right? So some mentors, you're going to be gung-ho, you're going to love everything we talk about tonight, and you're going to meet with your mentee and be like, all right, we've got 20 things we can work on now. Save Our Youth gave me all these topics we can do, and you're like ready to go. However, your mentee might not be ready. And on the flip side, some of your mentees are ready, and you as a mentor might be like, well, I just kind of want to keep having fun, and like, I don't really want to have these deeper conversations, or like, and I'd encourage you, like, hey, it's good to actually step up and explore some of these things. The way you know if it's right is if trust has been established, and if by introducing some of these a little bit more in-depth topics, don't introduce like stress or strain into your relationship. So if you feel like you are forcing this, so that's that visual of you with the red X trying to just push this and push it up a mountain, that's not going to be helpful. Because you still need to maintain that showing up, showing interest, and you can shut your mentee down if they're not ready for this. So some of you with the real young mentees, 10, 11, some of these things might be a little bit more challenging. However, we've written and there's still tools to engage with younger kids as well. So don't be afraid to try it and kind of see how it goes. Yeah. But the reason we actually have incorporated this show tomorrow aspect is because research has started showing that friendship models of mentoring is what it's been labeled in the research literature, of just like, hey, mentor an adult and a kid, just kind of show up, hang out, hopefully have a good time. Like, that's a friendship model. They're showing that it doesn't have as many positive outcomes as programs to have a little bit more targeted interventions. And I've been doing mentoring for 10 years and it still kind of blew my mind, but then all of a sudden I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So the idea is if your mentee has some gaps where they're like, oh, I would love to get a driver's license, or I want to work on my communication skills, or I want to think about what does college look like. And if a mentor's like, not my role, I'm just here to have a good time or have fun, we've missed an opportunity to really help our young people gain skills and explore different avenues that they are interested in and wouldn't have the opportunity to without you in their life. So first two steps are still the key because if you don't have like that trusting relationship, you trying to force things, it's not going to work. So that's how these all kind of fit together in it.
All right. Well, thanks, Ange. So that is the entire mentor journey. Now, who remembers Hope Rising from your orientation? Right? We connect young people to hope through long-term mentoring relationships. And so what that is that's our mission statement, right? And so we showed you this 2-minute video, which I'm going to go ahead and play again. It's 2 minutes.
Save our youth. Our mission is to connect young people.
Before I keep playing, everyone could hear that, right? I just wanted to make sure. Okay, good. Let's play it again. It's 2 minutes.
To hope through long-term mentoring relationships. Over the years, we've realized that people have different ideas of what hope means. So we've adopted a definition from a book called Hope Rising. It says, hope is the belief that your future can be brighter and better than your past, and that you actually have a role to play in making it better. However, if we as mentors don't know how to guide our mentees towards sustainable hope, it's like telling them we're going to embark on a cross-country trip together, but that they're going to have to map it out without a GPS. Think about hope as the interaction of 3 concepts: goals, way power, and willpower. Let's start with goals. Every human has them, but we need to recognize that goals may not always be healthy or moral. Someone might have a goal of breaking into your car. It's not a good goal, but it's a goal nonetheless. However, moral goals always produce more sustainable hope than goals that create victims, consequences, or lead to jail. Once you've identified a healthy goal, the next step is figuring out how to get there. That's where way power, also known as pathways, comes in. People may strive to achieve a goal, but can lose hope if they can't find a way to accomplish it. Hope-filled people can identify multiple pathways towards a goal and find alternative routes when faced with barriers. As mentors, you can help your mentees find new pathways that they may not be able to see for themselves, like introducing them to job opportunities or problem-solving skills. The third component of the Hope Triangle is willpower, also known as agency. Willpower is grit, perseverance, and motivation. Willpower is limited, and it's often necessary to have external sources of motivation to replenish it. Hope-filled people can often receive this in the form of close friends, mentors, and other healthy relationships who spur them on to pursue their goals. Hope is strongest when an individual has a goal, a pathway, and the willpower to achieve it. As a mentor, you might be the only person in your mentee's life providing one-on-one encouragement. You can be your mentee's tour guide on the cross-country trip we know is life, and simply point them in a positive direction. With this in mind, what are some ways you can help your mentees create their goals, identify pathways, and motivate them into action?
Right. So we did that as a refresher because we're going to talk a lot more about hope, and our program is really designed around this hope idea and concept. And so in your manual or on page 3, and it's the same thing on your screen, is we believe that hope is a component of all 3 of these things, right? Vision, way, and will. And can I get someone who's willing to read the problem statement for me that you see there in the blue box?
I can do it.
Okay, thanks, Victoria.
Many young people experience varying levels of hopelessness, especially those that are under-resourced or facing adverse obstacles beyond their control. They have limited connections to supportive adults who can give them personalized guidance to navigate their path.
Yeah. So this is what this is the problem we're trying to address in our program, right? Is young people who have varying levels of hopelessness, especially those that are under-resourced or have adverse obstacles, right, beyond their control. And so what then, based on the second statement here, what then do you think we want our mentors to be able to do? I kind of highlighted it and bolded it. What do you see there? Nobody wants to get off mute. It's to give them personalized guidance to navigate their path, right? And so just like the video we showed you, it's the roadmap, or it's a map that you're trying to help guide them. Now it's to navigate their path, not your path, right? And it's not your hope for their path, and it's not what you want for them. It's their path, right? So my mentee's on a foster/adoption path. My job as her mentor is to walk alongside her on her foster and adoption path. I wish she didn't have to face those challenges, but they are her challenges, right? And so my role is to help personalize that service for her and that guidance. And so what Angela's going to share with you now is what we call a theory of change. And so in social work and nonprofit work, right? How can we create this personalized path for our mentees? So go ahead, Angela.
We're on page 4 in the manual. I know there's a lot of words on this. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to highlight what needs to be highlighted. But we wanted to include this entire theory of change just so you know, like, what does Save Our Youth hope for? Like, what are we doing here? What outcomes can I expect or, yeah, kind of be aiming for and shooting for? So we're really excited for this theory of change. This is also relatively new. So if you have any feedback or if you're like, this seems way off base, feel free to let us know. And we're kind of in the piloting phase here of this theory of change. And we're going to look at the assumptions first. So on the bottom left in those red boxes, these are assumptions that we believe need to be happening before we can even talk about outcomes. So some of you, we're going to read these and you're going to be like, oh yeah, we're still working on some of these assumptions, and that's perfectly okay, and that is normal. But we want to highlight them because if you're wanting to try to jump to this hope promoter top column that we expect after 5 years, and you're like, shoot, I'm still working on 3 of these assumptions, it's going to be challenging. So we're gonna do some popcorn style here too. Can we go through and read these assumptions? Someone take number 1 and then jump in from there.
Mentees want membership and are willing to participate actively.
Good one.
We'll just keep going.
Mentors will stay consistent and engaged to the relationship for at least a year.
Families support their child's participation.
Ongoing check-in, training, and coaching is provided to mentors.
Resources that support outcomes are easily accessible and utilized.
Last one, developing trust in the first year will improve long-term engagement and outcomes. So thank you. I know I know Zoom is clunky for it. You guys nailed it. Did good. And the underlined words, draw attention to that bottom phrase. The underlined words may be defined or experienced differently by each person. Connect with your mentoring specialist for clarity or support. So what we have found through our years at Save Our Youth, some of those underlined words, it'll be common or relatively common. Sometimes mentors will be like, I don't know if my mentee wants this. I've already heard, not you guys jumping to this conclusion, but some of the things you're experiencing, like my mentee's really quiet. My mentee's canceled a couple of times. My mentee's pushing boundaries or whatever it is. I don't think they want mentoring. That is totally valid and okay for you to be thinking or feeling that way. We encourage you to talk to your mentoring specialist because they might just have a little bit of a different perspective due to like the years of experience and seeing more than just one mentee. We might be able to say like, hey, we actually do think your mentee wants mentoring and here's why, even though it's not quite looking how you would expect, that we do think they want it and here's where we're coming from. So any of these assumptions, if you're concerned about, even on your mentoring roadmap, we're encouraging you, if you do have that paper one in front of you, or those of you who do not have a paper one, to jot down some notes to talk with your mentoring specialist about. And this would be one spot on that roadmap that you can jot down. If there's any assumptions that you're still like, I don't know if we're meeting these, jot that down and have a conversation with your mentoring specialist. So this is a great time to look at your roadmap, jot down some notes if needed for that. So once these assumptions are being met, and these align really well with the showing up, showing interest, right? So that's why we say even these assumptions, you're often working on them for your first 6 months or so. But after that, we do hope that you're able to start moving into these outcomes. So I'm going to draw attention to just the bottom triangle, year 1 and 2, and some of the outcomes we're hoping to see in the blue boxes. And one thing we haven't discussed, which I guess Marie and Melissa, you might have a conversation, some of these, the mentors at the Pearl, like, are they in year 1 or 2 outcomes, or because they've known each other longer, are we hoping that they jump ahead? So I'm just going to acknowledge that and let you know, though, for training tonight, we're going to be looking mostly at these year 1 and 2 outcomes because that's where the majority of you guys are at. But we do have year 3 to 5 outcomes. And then we have once our mentees get to their senior year in high school and into young adulthood, we have more outcomes we're hoping for. And then this hope promoter definition is what we would love to see for our mentees. We know it's not going to be 100% of our mentees, so this isn't like a perfection standard. But as we talked about, like ultimately, what do we hope for the young people in our program is that they do become hope promoters. And we define that as a person who cultivates their own hope and invests it back into their relationships and community, creating a lasting legacy of hope. So these are the mentees who you've been pouring into them, for years, but then they're becoming the hope promoters in their family, in their peer group, in their community. And we could share story after story of young people that this is the case. And then you'll see everything that we do tonight, it is around that hope triangle, which is highlighted to the right: vision, way, and will. And that's what we've broken our outcomes up as, where we want to see an increase in vision, an increase in way, and an increase in will. Those are our hopes for year 1 to 2. It's just an increase. So sometimes mentors will think like, oh my gosh, I want my mentees to be like these hope promoters and I want them to have strong vision and all this. And all we're saying, like, some of your mentees are starting at a pretty low point. Like they don't have much vision for the future. So what does just an increase look like in their life? So as you look at year 1 to 2, and we're going to go through these throughout the training, the blue boxes are just an increase in these 3 categories. And I don't think I need to go through them because we're going to actually do a deeper dive as we go through the rest of the training.
Yeah. And I just wanted to reiterate what a hope promoter is, because you might be like, oh, that seems so lofty or ethereal, right? It's just out there. But you guys are hope promoters. I don't know if you recognize this, right? A hope promoter is someone who's pouring back in to someone else, right? You've received this benefit at some point in your life of being discipled, being mentored, you maybe had great parents, and somehow you want to give back. A phrase I always like to use too is like they become the superhero for their family. I became that person for my family, right? I'm the interpreter for my family, or I was the one became the Google person for my family, and so you become that hope for your family, and we're hoping that they become cycle breakers. And when I first started at Save Our Youth, I was really like, what was the whole point? I don't want our kids to just get better jobs, just get married and have the white picket fence and have, break the cycle. That's not good enough for me, right? So what's important to me is that we create more people who are pouring back out into a hurting community, in a hurting world, right? And so hopefully that's how you see it. And we see this all the time when our graduation rolls around. We see a lot of things. We see our young people. We have so much belief in them and what they can do. But there are practical things to get there, and that's what we're going to talk about as well. So let me get back to sharing my screen. Any questions about that? I don't want to just move on. Any thoughts about what we just said? You guys are learning a lot of like nonprofit-y kind of words here, but anything, feel free to share it in the chat too. I don't want to move too fast for you guys.
I love to, Maria's made the point of like, you guys are hearing this for the first time. So if you're like, I don't know if this is what I signed up for. I didn't know that we guys have a theory of change and there's these outcomes and all of these things. So please don't be overwhelmed, and know that for some of you who are like, we're just kind of getting you caught up to speed here. Some of these outcomes might be 1 to 2 years from now. It might be like, I didn't even know we're supposed to be thinking about outcomes. Totally fine. Thank you for rolling with us. And we hope that everything we go over tonight is not like feeling like more of a burden, like, oh my gosh, is this one more thing I have to do? What we want it to feel like is, oh my gosh, I'm already meeting with my mentee. This is really helpful to just guide some of our conversations, or, oh, I could easily incorporate this into what we're already doing. So know that everything tonight shouldn't be extra or in addition to what you're doing. It should give you some really good tools for what you're already doing. So keep that in mind and as a framework as we go through things tonight.
Yeah. And we're going to touch on each outcome and just those blue boxes that Angela talked about. But before we do that, remember, if we're going to create a personalized roadmap, then it would not make sense for me and Angela to come on and be like, this is everything we want all of your mentees to do step by step by step, right? That wouldn't be personalized. And so you as the mentor, you're the spokesperson tonight for your mentee. And so before we do that though, before we get to outcomes, I want you to learn more about your mentee right now. Okay, so you're going to start thinking of them. We've created another video. It is almost 6 minutes. And then right after this video, we're going to take a break. So if I'm losing you or anything, just come back to this video. It's also on pages 5 and 6 of your book, workbook. But the video, we'll talk about those pages as well. But go ahead and watch this video for 6 minutes. And I think you'll find a little bit about yourself in the video too. All right, so here we go.
At this
So as we
point,
go, yeah, think what stands
you
out to you
probably
about
heard
your
us talk
mentee and what
about how
stands out to you
important
for
it is
yourself.
to consistently show up for your mentee.
I'll start it again. Say it again, Ange. What stands
So
out
as
to
you're
you?
watching the video, see what stands out. You're like, oh my gosh, that really does describe my mentee, or have I seen that in my mentee? And also for yourself, you're like, dang, I've never felt so called out. That was like a perfect description of me and things. So this is a great chance to learn more about yourself. So be thinking about that and with your mentee as you watch the video.
At this point in your mentoring journey, you've probably heard us talk about how important it is to consistently show up for your mentee. Well, today we're going to take it a step further and talk about how you can show up in a way that really connects. One of the best ways to do that is by understanding your mentee's personality, how they think, what drives them, and how they respond to others. At Save Our Youth, we use a simple tool to help with this. 4 animal types based on the DISC personality model. Each animal represents common traits and tendencies you might see in your mentee and gives you helpful clues on how to support, motivate, and communicate with them more effectively. It's important to be aware of challenges and obstacles for each personality type, but our main objective is to focus on the strengths of their personalities. Now, this won't be a perfect fit for everyone, but it's a helpful starting point to better understand your mentee. Let's start with the lion, confident, driven, and ready to lead. Lions are natural go-getters. You might notice they're quick to take charge, speak up, or jump into action sometimes a little too quickly. When it comes to communication, lions tend to be direct and action-oriented. They respond quickly and appreciate honesty and clarity, but they may also dominate conversations or interrupt without meaning to. In group settings, lions are usually the first to step up. They take initiative, may try to lead or correct others, and can get frustrated with slower paced activities. Winning and taking on challenges can be important to them. As a mentor, give them ownership when possible. Let them help set goals or lead a task. Challenge them with responsibility, but also coach them on empathy and the value of collaboration. A little guidance goes a long way in helping lions grow into strong, thoughtful leaders. Now, let's meet the otter, playful, social, and full of energy. Otters love fun, friends, and being in the spotlight. You'll often see them chatting, laughing, and bouncing between ideas, even if they don't always finish what they start. They bring a burst of positivity into any room. Otters are outgoing, optimistic, and have a natural ability to inspire and uplift the people around them. Their communication style, big energy, lots of words, and plenty of ideas. In groups, otters jump in easily and make friends fast. They shine in creative or playful environments, but can struggle to stay focused if things feel too repetitive or slow. Otters with past trauma or contributing risk factors can still be surprisingly playful. You might see this displayed as over-the-top silliness or humor, sometimes a method to avoid hard topics. As a mentor, try to make your time together interactive and fun. Use visuals, gentle reminders, and regular check-ins to help them stay on track. And don't forget to celebrate their progress, even the small wins. Next up is the golden retriever, calm, loyal, and thoughtful. They may not be the first to speak up, but they're often the first to make sure everyone else is okay. You might notice they prefer smaller groups and avoid conflict. They value peace, routine, and emotional safety, and they often follow in the lead of others rather than stepping into the spotlight. Their strengths:
They're thoughtful, dependable, and deeply loyal to the people they trust. When it comes to communication, they'll likely think before they speak, dislike being put on the spot, and open up once they feel safe. As a mentor, it's helpful to be patient. Try not to rush them, but rather let them know you really value what they think. Gently encourage them to name their own strengths and identify needs. And finally, let's meet the beaver, the lover of details. Beavers are cautious, enjoy following rules, and plan everything to make sure it's just right. They like structure, high standards, and may shut down when plans change unexpectedly. Beavers prefer clear, logical communication and may not speak up unless invited. But when they do, it's usually well thought out. Because beavers are practical thinkers, they can struggle with letting themselves dream or wonder. So they may be less likely to share a goal unless they know how to make it happen. They shine when expectations are clear and tasks have structure. As a mentor, invite their ideas with open-ended questions like, what do you think would work best? Also, try to avoid being too vague or casual. Give them the clarity they crave. And when things don't go exactly to plan, gently guide them back, showing that flexibility can be just as valuable as precision. And if there's a topic they often bring up but quickly shut down, help them to dive deeper as a way to help uncover potential unlocked dreams. Overall, most mentees don't reflect just one animal, but understanding these traits can give you a strong foundation for personalized mentoring. As you get to know your mentee, look for their strengths, communication style, and how they respond in different settings. The more you learn, the more you can guide them on their own unique path.
Right. All right. So, before we take a break, who saw themselves in the video? Any part of themselves? Yeah. What animals are you? Crazy animals. You can type it in the chat if you're too shy. Oh, let's see, Naomi, what did you hold up? An otter? A beaver.
Beaver.
Beaver. Yep.
I'm also a beaver.
A beaver. Okay. Any otters? Any lions? Otter, Victoria? Victoria's
Roxana's the lion in the group.
a lion. Okay, nice. I'm equal parts lion and otter. Depends on the situation. I try to be playful. I try to be playful bossy. Yeah. All right. Okay, so how about your mentee? Did you notice your mentee?
Basically, the otter.
He's an otter. Bob, I know your mentee, and I would say that's accurate because when I asked him, tell me about your friends, he goes, oh, the whole soccer field, they're all my friends. Everybody,
Mhm.
they're all my friends. They all want to be my friend. Yeah.
I would think Silas would be more of the otter type.
You think he's an otter or beaver? Because he really likes like the building rocket type of thing, right?
Oh yeah, no, he had a good time with that. Different, but
He's pretty
almost
outgoing.
anything you bring up with him is okay. I mean, he's willing to give anything a try.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Well, remember your mentee can be a combination of them, and it's
Right.
not to put anyone in a perfect box, of course.
Right.
Did anyone struggle to kind of pinpoint any parts of their mentee yet?
Was the other one a golden retriever?
Oh, go ahead, Nikki. What'd you say?
Mhm.
Was golden retriever the other one?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my mentee and I are both that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very good.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Victoria?
It was Roxanne. It was me.
Oh.
I had a real hard time like realizing what my mentee is. I think she's a golden retriever.
Okay.
But then she's a lion sometimes. So it's like extreme opposites, right? So it's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, we're going to cover some more of this. I do want to give you guys a quick break. So go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to actually, if you can just come right back at like 7:05, a 5-minute just stretch, move, go get water, whatever you need. And then we'll come back and we'll take a little deeper. We're going to pull out the roadmap and talk more about some of these traits. Right now, you're not going to be able to figure all that out, but because you have the manual and because, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, you'll all get a copy of the video. You'll get some email content that comes out to you, so you don't have to memorize everything that you're learning today. But let's take a quick break. See you at 7:05. Like, you can't do very much in 5 minutes, huh? Like, trying to scarf my leftover guac and
I was finishing cleaning up the coffee spill that happened while I shut the camera off earlier. I got up to go make my coffee. No, I never ever do that. Spilled coffee everywhere.
oh no.
That was when you guys were reading off the things, and then I was like, what could happen in like 2 minutes while I step away? And then I heard you guys were like, let's popcorn read. I was like, oh my God.
Oh.
You played it off well. You look calm, cool, and collected.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish my chewing. Um, all right, let's see where we're at. By the way, all the videos for mentor training, including the Hope Rising video, including this personality video, are found on our Save Our Youth YouTube channel. They are public videos. They're on a playlist called Mentor Training. And so you're welcome to go watch them. The personality video, we just had that made. So, if you have any edits or ideas, let us know on that. But um, that video is on there as well. And we will also drip this content out to you on email. We'll pace it out a little bit because we understand that it's like a fire hose of information. And your mentor specialist is also trained. So as long as you have the manual or what kind of, you're like, what are those animals? Let's talk about that some more. You can talk about it with them as well. Um, and again, just to reiterate, the point of it is we want you to just get to know more of your mentee's strengths, of their personality, right? Every personality has strengths. Your mentee has strengths. So go ahead and pull out the roadmap for those of you who did receive it in the mail, or maybe you have your digital version of it. It's a separate piece of paper from your workbook, and that's where for those of you who got your package, you have stickers. You can go put a sticker of your mentee. If they're a beaver, we only gave you one of each sticker. If you're both the same animal, you can just put it right in the middle there. So, and if you don't know, you don't know. That's okay. Your mentee might be a hybrid of things. In your manual, you have what we see on the screen here, which is
Maria, your screen's not sharing.
oh, sorry. Let me come. Thank you.
And Ken and Bob, again, just feel free on some notes to jot down kind of what animal you think you are and what your mentee is. Sorry, you don't have fancy stickers, but the heart behind it you can still get there.
Yeah. So what you see on the screen, for those of you who didn't get the workbook, but it is in page 5 and 6 in your workbook, are the personality. I'm not going to go through them. That's what the video was for, of kind of giving you an overview of them, including, mentoring tips to help, we want to, so your personality may not be dominant like a lion, but what we know about lions is they like to lead. And so if you're naturally a golden retriever or someone who steps back, that might be an attribute that can be hard for you to see that as a strength, first of all, especially if it's not your own strength. And so that gives you some tips on what to do for that personality type, is how to encourage them, like saying things like, wow, it looks like you like to be in charge, right? And we need people to be in charge, right? So how do we teach someone? How do we find resources for that personality, even if they're not the same personality as you? And chances are you're not the same personalities as your mentee. It also has conflict styles on there. It also has a stress response. Like your mentee, if they're calling out, or fawning is a new term that Angela and I learned about. Fawning was is they are like almost like a doormat, like they're very accommodating, or they flight or fight or freeze, right? We've heard all of those different words. So we're not going to go into each one of those now, but as you invest in your mentees, studying more about them and their strengths, this is going to be a good resource for you to do. And remember, let me just give you this quick tip. Lions and beavers, right? Lions and beavers are very into procedures, checklists, things to do. And sometimes those things can get prioritized over people and feelings, right? And so we can roll over people, like if depending on what our stress response is. Otters and golden retrievers are always people first, right? They usually care about the people first. So just kind of keep that in mind, and you can kind of see that within your mentee. If they care a lot about what's happening with their family and the feelings that are happen, it's part of their strength. So we need to build them up in those strengths. So again, I can go on for 3 days about this, but we don't have time. So what we're going to do is assume that you kind of already on your roadmap have an idea of who your mentee is. Again, we're going to keep working through this, so don't worry if you don't have that yet. When you take out your roadmap, you do see a spot for their name. And the reason we have this, we know you know each other's names, but you're going to take a picture of this later and send it to us so that your mentor specialist can see you and how you feel and how you're kind of rating your mentee on some of these things. But there is lines 1, 2, and 3 there because one of the outcomes that we hope you focus on is what are my mentees' strengths? Because their strengths are what they're going to carry into the future. And so, what are the top 3 strengths, whether you saw them in the book, whether you just know them because you've been hanging out with them, write those 3 things down for them. Okay, so that's how we're going to get us started. And then I'm going to go ahead and, so let me give you a minute just to do that on the roadmap. And for Ken and Bob, if you wouldn't mind just writing this down on a piece of paper, we'll get Melissa to help follow up to make sure we can get some of these things in your case notes too, of who we think they are. So 3 strengths. All right. And then we're going to go into page 7 within your manuals, which is all about increased vision. And the increased vision is all about the ability to imagine a future that is brighter and better than the past, inspiring hope and purpose. So what we hope is for all of your mentees that they can dream, that they're able to see a future for themselves. In your orientation, we talked about how some socioeconomic classes, right, can just only focus on today. They can't dream about themselves in a future. And so your role is to help them know that they have a future. Now, each of the personalities, the lion, beaver, otter, and golden retriever, they're going to have strengths about this, right? Some of the personalities are like, yeah, I see myself in the future. I believe this about myself. And some are going to struggle with seeing and being dreamy. We've talked about that in the video. And then there's going to be obstacles. So I'm just going to give you one for a lion. A lion is like, yeah, I can be an NBA player. And they believe that, right? And they know that. But what they can overlook are those tiny little steps that it's going to take to become the NBA player. So we're not going to go through each of the personalities, but this is again a tool for you on page 7 to see what their strengths are when it comes to vision and what are their obstacles when it comes to vision. And so you can go find your mentee's animal and be like, okay, this is why they're going to be strong in making a vision board. And this is why they're going to be weak in making a vision board, right? Because not weak, but they're going to have obstacles or challenges with it. And so how can you help them to do that? Now on page 8 of your workbook or on the screen, what you see here is one of our outcomes that we hope to see. And you can see the outcomes on your roadmap, by the way, which I don't have right in front of me. So in the pink box on your roadmap, we have 3 outcomes that we hope that your mentees can reach by the first year. Okay, and one of those outcomes is all about short-term and long-term goals. So does your mentee have the ability to believe that they can create a short-term goal? I always like to use Eduardo, which happens to be Bob's mentee, right? He's like, I just want to join a soccer team. That's a short-term goal. He's 10 years old. He wants to be on a soccer team for a rec league. That's a good short-term goal. And so Bob can be like, Eduardo, do you know that that's a short-term goal, right? Let's work on achieving that goal. Let's find the steps it takes to get to that goal. And it could be a challenge, as Bob might have discovered, right? And then as he gets older, or for those of you who have older mentees, we can talk more about long-term goals. And the examples here in the book are an example of a short-term goal is, creating a gratitude journal for 7 days or trying to complete one activity over the summer, doing 3 activities from the Big Life Journal, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And then a long-term goal is like what you see here, learning what it takes to become a veterinarian, understanding how to apply to a college or trade program, right? So do you guys all see the difference in those 2 things? And the reason this is a personalized plan is because some of your mentees are 10 and some of your mentees are 16. And so you need to determine based on their age, based on where they're at with you and trust, what we're trying to build on those. So on your roadmap, which I'm going to just go back to so I can see it here. You can see
Maria, I have the full roadmap pulled up that if you want me to share my screen for those who don't
Okay.
have it in front of them.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me stop share on my side. What you're going to do is rate your mentee on the roadmap. There's a green, yellow, red, or 3, 2, 1. And you're going to just take time right now to see where your mentee is on vision. If there are future-oriented thinking, if they understand their strengths, if they have, increased hope, you're going to just circle where you would rate them. You're their mentee. You know them better than us. And it's okay. Ones are not, failing or anything like that. It's just where is this child on this, right? And so you're going to rank 3, 2, 1. But then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick one, just one, and you're going to either put a heart, a star, a circle that you think would be the most helpful for your mentee to focus on between now and your next 1-year mark. So some of you who have been together match for 4 months, for the next, 8 months, we're going to work on strength recognition or whichever one it is. Is that making sense to you guys about grading and picking one to work on? And then Angela is now, so it's one thing for us to ask you to do these things, right? You're like, I need to do this for myself. But we're going to teach you some tools that we have provided for you to be able to help your mentee find, learn some of these important outcomes. So go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, because as a reminder, year 1 to 2, we just want to see an increase. So that's where we're saying like ones are not bad. If your mentee's at a 1, like they have 0 future-oriented thinking, an increase would be, dang, they're actually now thinking about some short-term goals. Or they've learned about long-term goals. Do you see how we wrote on there? It's not like they're accomplishing long-term goals, they're just learning about long-term goals. So these increases are really tailored to where your mentee's starting at. So yeah, we want to celebrate the small wins because we know with a lot of the young people we work with, the small wins are huge and sometimes mentors miss them. They don't feel like that big or that lofty. And we hope that this chart kind of helps you yeah, see where they're at. So each of these categories we're going to go over, then we're going to share a tool to help you work on these things. So the first tool we're going to go over is the Big Life Journal. Can't see it super well.
You can stop share and then they can see your screen.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. My screen doesn't really change. Are we back?
Oh yeah, good.
Okay. So the Big Life Journal. Look at that, Naomi, good job. I think some of you have had this book even before this training. Has anyone used this with their mentee yet or have any stories to share? Victoria, what have you used it or how's it gone for you?
We've only done the first 2 pages, and it's really nice because one of the classes I teach is SEL, so it's really nice because it aligns with like my lessons. And it was super fun. We always talk about how she likes drawing a lot, but the page where you design an app for something, the things that she drew and the ideas that she had at the drop of immediately was so impressive to me, and it was so much fun to get to see that side of her.
Yep. Yeah, so for those of you who haven't seen it, it's literally just like pages of a very creative, hands-on way to get a little bit deeper conversation. So the Big Life Journal really is about identity development and future thinking. And this is a great tool for a lot of this vision category because it is helping them learn like who am I, some of that personality stuff and goal setting and thinking about the future. It's all built into this book. We did not create this one. I'm thankful to have found it because they kind of figured out how to do it. And I have seen it work really well for male matches, female matches. It is written for middle school and high school. Thank you, Melissa. It says Ken and Bob, she has a copy for you guys. And I think for high schoolers, it's written in a way that it's not overly cheesy. And then for middle schoolers, it's written in a way that's still very accessible. So it's not written in super lofty language. So it's worked well for every mentee in our program. I do remind you this is a tool. So you get to choose how to use it. Some matches will say, like, hey, once a month, let's go to a coffee shop and let's work on a few different things from the Big Life Journal. And that's kind of your activity for that week. Some matches will say, most weeks they hang out, they'll pick one activity and talk about it on the drive somewhere. So you can do it that way. If you have a mentee who's kind of bouncing off the walls and you know they're not going to sit still for pretty much any of this, rip out a page, take it on a walk at the park, or when you're shooting hoops, you can pull it out of your pocket. Like, this is a tool not meant to be used perfectly. Save Our Youth does give every match one copy. So if you lose it or if you want to purchase your own one, you can find it on the Big Life Journal website or on Amazon. Or if you want your own copy, feel free to check it out. Because we encourage mentors to do these activities with your mentee. It's not just like another homework assignment for your mentee. This is times when you hang out to work on together. So yeah, Victoria shared there's one on here. If you were to create an app, what would it be about? So you get to do it too. It's not just making your mentee do it. So if you as the mentor, if you wanted to create an app, what would it be about? So this is a really good way even to model like reciprocal aspects. And I was working hard the best at asking you questions or getting to know you so you can take initiative to share these things. We have created a challenge. So for those of you, this is where it gets complicated. I learned this at the last training. They did an update in 2024. So you have to go to page 2 in your Big Life Journal and see what copyright you have. Some of you, it's going to say copyright 2018. And some of you, it's going to say copyright 2018, updated in 2024. So right below it, it says updated. So we have a challenge, and I thought they were just basic updates, but some of the activities are different. A lot of the page numbers are different. So I rewrote this challenge, and on a Skills for Success page, Mary, I'm going to have you click back to the page. We'll make sure you get this link, but on our website, this one's not on the main website, but it's a link that will get sent to you. It's a whole Skills for Success page. And this is where you can download the Big Life Journal challenge, depending on which copyright. If you do 15 activities in the Big Life Journal, you can bring it to a Save Our Youth event and we give you guys a gift card. So if you have a mentee who's likes incentive or responds well to challenges, this is a way you can literally go through check boxes. And I have broken these up into those 3 categories: vision, way, and willpower. So if you're like, dang, my mentee does struggle with like vision, great. Here's like all the topics in the Big Life Journal that talk about vision and categories. Same with way power and willpower that we'll be talking about more. So we've reorganized this Big Life Journal challenge to fit the buckets of the Hope Triangle, and it really does fit well. So if you have your book, an example, I found an activity that is the same on both versions of the Big Life Journal. If you go to page 70, 70 and 71, I have listed under vision, and it's just listed as defining success. So this one is helping your mentee define what does success look like for them. And for those of you who don't have it, Maria's giving you a good example. I love this one because it has like ton of word bubble, because your mentee might say, I don't know what success looks like for me. Great. Big Life Journal has given you about 20 different words that they can just circle things that are important to them, or what would success mean. And then it lets them define, to me, success means being blank, feeling blank, pursuing blank, becoming blank, having blank. So just, it's a structured way to start having a little bit deeper conversations. And a lot of matches have really enjoyed this. And then knowing for some, you're going to try it and you're going to be like, my mentee was having none of it. And that's okay too. Tuck it away. It might be ready in 6 months. They might be ready a year from now. But don't be afraid to give it a shot and see how it goes. Or you can say, hey, Save Our Youth asked me to try this. Can we do this for our meeting today or something? So feel free to blame Save Our Youth and just see how it goes. So this is a tool for all of the categories: vision, way, and will. But I just wanted to highlight that one on page 70 is really for that vision category. Like, what does success look like in their life, personalizing to them and thinking about the future. So any questions or thoughts on the Big Life Journal?
The website for Skills for Success is a QR code in your manual on page 8. And the website is there too, because it's not a public page on our website, but you can scan that or you can type in the web address there, and that's where you can find that challenge. And you'll find all the links for all of our skill success that Angela's going to talk about tonight.
And Maria put that link in the chat if you do want to click on it so you have it open in a browser. And I guess I didn't do the big introduction. Skills for Success is what we're calling a lot of our education programs. So it's once you have that foundation with your mentee, how do we start equipping them with skills for success? And Big Life Journal is kind of the first introduction that we think is like the easiest entry point into starting to work on some of these skills. So it's going to go Big Life Journal, and then you're going to hear me introduce Level All is an online curriculum that is kind of the next step after you do the journal. And then we have a senior experience. So that is for mentees when they get to their senior year. Those are equipping them with specific skills they need in their senior year to prepare for life after high school. So those are the 3 things we do with Skills for Success that you're going to get introduced to today.
All right, so let's move on to way. So remember, vision is being able to see that future. An increased in way is the exposure to undiscovered pathways will help inform decisions to turn a vision into reality. So we have the kid who wants to be the NBA player, right? Big vision, good vision to have. It's okay. And how are we going to create that pathway for them to get there, right? And so we're not trying to make a pathway to make them not be an NBA player, not yet, right? Hopefully they might, but what we'll hope along the way is they're learning ways to break down a big goal into small goals. So again, the way is the pathway to get there, to whatever our goal is, whatever our hopes or dreams are, the pathway, and you as a mentor helping them to find that way to turn that vision into the reality. Again, every personality has strengths to be able to see a way, a positive way, or they also have obstacles and challenges. So when they face, they're like, I was on my way to this goal and now I have an obstacle, right? It's the ability to find another way to do things. And so every personality trait is a little bit different in how they're going to respond to this. And I want to remind you that while we hope you can help point them towards outcomes, in the increased way, which is on your roadmap. I don't have them in front of me. Thank you. Angela put them in the chat is sometimes we can't even work on outcomes. We just got to work on obstacles, right? A kid who doesn't have a positive way of seeing a good way through this is that could be part of your job is to help them overcome some of the challenges they have. So, for example, if an increased way is to go to school, pathway and education, right? Some of that challenge is just like getting to school, learning how to get to school on time and all of those different things. So sometimes you have to work on those obstacles. But like Angela said, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, it's the building of trust that needs to happen before this child is going to trust you to take your advice to be able to take some of these ways. So we're going to reiterate some more things about trust right now in our call. And I want to, I live in, well, not my neighborhood's not newer anymore, but some of the old trees have died off and they've planted new trees. And just like your mentee is that planted new tree with you, it's fragile, it's tender, right? And everything is above, it's not rooted yet. And that's how we feel like your trust is with your mentee. Some of you have different levels of trust. So those of you have the book, page 9 and 10, or page 10, starts to show you what we call a trust that grows. A trust that grows is a scale from 1 to 10. And what I want to reiterate is that we're not 9 and 10. Those of you who have matches that have 9 and 10 trust, that's fantastic. That's great. But I want to tell you, even if you have a mentee who's starting out with you with a 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 trust, the whole goal here is just to increase in trust, not to get to 9 and 10 if they're at a 1 and 2. And so just to increase in trust is a positive outcome for your mentoring journey. And we want to start that right off the bat because I don't want you to have the pressure that you're going to have this deeply rooted relationship after just 6 months or 1 year. So let's just, I'm going to leave this on the screen because not all of you have a book. And what I also want to reiterate about some of these things on the trust scale is it may look differently for some kids. So when we say no eye contact or very little verbal or nonverbal engagement, that could vary for a young person who might be neurodivergent or have some tendencies about that, or even cultural norms, right? So if you have some youth from different backgrounds, making eye contact may not be normal for that. But in in some trust, and usually we can tell that trust can be in some of those cues that we see here on the trust scale. Well, we don't want to call it a trust scale, but it's a trust that's growing. So, really quick, I would love to hear, and on your roadmap, please write it down where you think you are with trust and your mentee. So, who would like to share a little bit more about where they think they are with their mentee on the trust, on what you see here on the scale?
There's a decent amount of writing. I think we need to give them 90 seconds to read it. So take
Okay.
90 seconds, and then if a few of you will share where you think you're at.
Yeah, no problem. I can talk 10 miles an hour, you know. Let's just go.
So I think I'm at a 5-6, moderate trust.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, there's some sharing, but not like deep sharing of like I had a fight at school or so we're growing there. So, but yeah, moderate trust, I would say.
Good. Yeah, that's good. A quote I like to use too is like trust is earned in drops and it can be lost in buckets, right? We know that. And so just think of like your entire kind of journey that you've had, right? Because you've had some highs and lows and sometimes they open up and sometimes they don't, you know, and it's just kind of building those roots a little bit at a time. And then something could happen, right? Where trust can be broken a little bit, but over time it's repairing. So it can vary. Who else might want to share where they're at?
I think right now, ours is minimal because we haven't had any contact for 3 months.
Mm, yeah. But what would you say, Bob, over the course of your time together at, especially because you guys were meeting at the church?
Maybe the next level, emerging trust. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's pretty young too. So yeah, he's showing polite interest. I see that. Yeah. Okay.
Victoria
I'd
had her
say,
hand up. Oh, and
no, go
Ken.
ahead.
Ken, you go first, and then Victoria
Okay.
after that.
I would say it's in the moderate trust range, but I've looked at 7 and 8 even, and he's they always really, even when Gina wasn't feeling good, she'd make sure he got to the meeting. So, you know, I know one night I asked her why she even showed up. She was feeling so bad. She just sat out in the car and waited. And he's always shows appreciation. You know, he always says thanks for coming and that kind of thing. So he's good, and he's you know, if we ask questions back and forth, and he's pretty open about you know, things in life, school and different things, kids interaction and stuff. Sometimes it gets pretty competitive between some of the boys in our mentor group when they're at the same age. You know, if you get in the gym or do things like that.
Mhm.
And but he's just a fun kid to be with.
Okay. Great. Thank you. And who did you say Victoria was next, or who? Oh yeah, Victoria.
I think we're at about a 7. We connected, like, I don't know, she's just been opening up a lot more about boys, about friends, those kinds of things, but it hasn't been that deep, deep trust, which I'm totally fine with.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm super happy with where we're at. And I'm glad we have the foundation we have now, especially as she goes into high school. And freshman year is a ride. So I'm excited to have that foundation and grow in that as she goes to this year.
Okay. Great. Good. All right. Does anybody else want to share?
I can share.
Okay, great.
Um, yeah, I think Martha and I are at like a 3 or 4. Um, but it's interesting because I can't tell how much is just her personality. And it's kind of like spurts of her, she'll open up about stuff. So, um, but yeah, like she keeps showing up. She never says no to a hangout. So there's part of me is like, maybe she actually really does feel safe and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
She's just young and, a little bit quieter and she's not going to verbalize it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of our hangouts are one-word answers and pretty awkward, but she keeps showing up. So
Yeah, that's good.
mhm.
Yeah, and if you go back to page 9 in your book, right? It's the strengths and the obstacles. It definitely is personality. Some personalities can be a little bit more trusting, a little bit more quicker. Some can be a little bit more guarded, and then you have all the background trauma or risk, environmental factors that they have going on too that can be presented. And then you just have obstacles. Every personality has obstacles when it comes to trusting. So just keep those things in mind. And hopefully you're not discouraged because we do say trust takes a lot. Before you can start showing your mentee this way or that way, I suggest you listen about the military. I suggest you learn about this college, right? You got to build that trust first. That's going to be really important. So I didn't want to cut anyone off if anyone else still wanted to share, but I want to give Angela time. On the way, Angela, for our tool that we have here is your mentoring specialist is the tool that you have. One of the conversations I actually had with a mentoring specialist today was uh, they're not just problem solvers, right? They're also here to encourage you. And so even if you're like, I just want to talk more about building trust with my mentee or whatever the other outcomes are on your roadmap, you can just have conversations for more ideas to support that. And I don't want to, before we go on to Will, I do want to stay on that roadmap, um, to go read that 3 outcomes and make sure you're grading green, yellow, red for each of those 3 outcomes that you have there.
So this is the reason we highlighted trust on this one is because literally developing trust in mentors is an outcome that we are hoping to see in year 1 to 2. So that's one of them. New experiences. So some of you who are like, I don't know if we're having super deep experiences, but we've tried a few new things. That's literally an outcome we're hoping for on Waypower because that starts their brain seeing new opportunities, new experiences, and then some problem solving skills. So those are the 3 outcomes we hope to see in the Waypower category in year 1 and 2. And again, we're just looking for an increase. So take a moment there on your roadmap or on your note page. I shared my screen here. Rate where you think your mentee's at, 1, 2, or 3. And then once again, circle just one of them that you would like to focus on this next year. And if any ideas kind of jogged of like, oh, I want to call my mentoring specialist, or I would love to try a big life journal activity, you can put ideas to support it, or using those personalities in your workbook if there's actual obstacles that you need to focus on those as well. So we hope this roadmap is your place to just capture a lot of the individual thoughts you have in regards to you and your mentee.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the ideas to support it, is that like what is it?
The one goal, great question. The one goal that you're choosing to focus on. Yeah. So if you're saying, I want to focus on new experiences, an idea could be, I'm going to look at the Mentor Zone app to make sure that I'm keeping up on ideas, or I know Mile High on the Cheap is a great website. Let me use them. So, yeah, those are great clarification. You're like, what are we trying to support?
Yeah.
And then same with almost obstacles. So what are the obstacles to that one that you're wanting to focus on, or just like for your mentee to increase in Waypower, you getting to know their personality, what are some obstacles? And we even put in shaded there, like, are they ready or not? Like you might even say like, I would love to work on problem solving skills, but they're just not ready. And that's okay too. You can identify what you think is really good and then also be like, but I'm not going to push it because my mentee's not quite ready yet. So we have a lot packed onto these little roadmaps. So thank you for following along.
Yeah.
There's a lot in a small space there.
And the reason we call it roadmap, right, is when you leave here, you're like, you have an idea of what you want to work on for the next couple of months, you know. And like Angela said, not everything is going to be work on every outcome only. You're still going to go out and have fun and do things and activities, but now maybe you can be a little more intentional when you're out because you've discovered, you know, that your mentee, yeah, you know what, they don't really have good problem solving skills. So now I'm going to start learning how to challenge them in that. And yeah,
Mo
go ahead, Angela.
Sorry, Melissa, you don't know what Jerry Lanzer, do you? Oh, you
Yeah,
do?
he is one of our mentors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I let him in? There we go. Okay. I was like, I didn't recognize that name. Um, Great. Okay. We're on to our last one here, guys. So I know we get repetitive here, but I want to keep framing where we're at. Hope triangle, we believe an increase in vision, way, and will is what's going to help our mentees increase in hope, which is our mission statement. So the last category is an increase in will. I'm going to actually keep is my screen still shared here?
I don't know whose screen is sharing.
Do you guys see increased will with red, yellow?
Yeah, it says Angela at the top.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you for Maria and I did not coordinate our Zoom choreography here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually keep this while we're on the roadmap. So these are the three outcomes we're hoping to see in year 1 and year 2. So an increase in will is program engagement. Well, I guess I should say the will definition up here, the personal drive, skills, mindset, and support needed to walk the path, overcome challenges, and stay on course. So that's the definition of willpower. This is like the grit, the resilience, kind of that internal like oomph to help you keep going. So that is what we want to see in year 1 and 2 is a program engagement, building confidence and growth from experience. And we say program engagement, making it to a year mark, like that is a big deal. These are young people who might be used to flaking out or might be used to other people flaking out. So just them sticking with it when it is the awkward moments at times when Nikki, you're like, I am asked every 1-word question. I've asked 20 questions and I've gotten 20 words total. Like there's some awkwardness to that and stuff, but them sticking with it and you sticking with it, there's just some like program engagement and willpower that's happening with that. So we hope that these outcomes maybe even encourage you that, like, again, small wins, small victories are something to be celebrated. So feel free to kind of rank your mentee on where you think they are at. And once again, pick 1 out of the 3. So our hope is leaving this training, you have 3 things you can focus on, not 9. You're not trying to do all things or be all things, but just 3 things to focus on a little bit. And then you'll see on your training manual, page 11 is where we also break down what are the specific strengths and obstacles based on personalities that come in this category of will. So some of these things you might have to, even after training tonight, go through this a little bit more thoroughly. If you are the beavers in the room, especially, you're going to go back through and read every word on these pages. I'm a beaver, so I am speaking about myself. Otters, good luck. You are probably never going to look at this manual again. But if you do need to go back and reference, there's a lot in here. So strengths, obstacles, willpower, what do you want to see? Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing, and Marie, I'm going to have you go to the brain slide.
Okay.
So as we think about willpower in the mentoring journey, like there's different things that I think just can be like, dang, this is frustrating. Or as mentors, you're like, I don't get it. Or like, I wish my mentee X, Y, or Z. So we just wanted to touch on a couple of things that might be impacting your mentee. And one of those is brain development. So the research says our brains take a while to be fully developed. Anyone want to take a guess? Do you know average age research is now saying that your brain is fully developed? All right, I see 25 from Melissa. Any other guesses?
35.
35? I like it. You're like, Naomi, we need a lot of time. Yeah, great. Melissa actually nailed it for women. On average, women is 25 and men is 27. I'm not saying anything about that. That's just what science shows. So I think it's just fascinating that, 18 is when we think young people are adults, but your brain's still not even fully developed. The last part of your brain to develop is your prefrontal cortex up here. And that is where long-term thinking happens. This is where impulse control happens. This is where thinking through consequences happen. So when we think about challenges young people have, a lot of times it's just like their brain's not fully developed. So when you're like, did you not think about when you cussed out your teacher, how you were going to get expelled and how then that was going to impact X, Y, or Z? And they're like, no. And you're like just confused. And the reality is they maybe weren't. Like they weren't necessarily just being a punk. Like that was how they felt in that moment. And because they didn't have that impulse control and stuff, that's just what happened. If you need a good like YouTube video to look up, it's called Dan Siegel Hand Model of the Brain. They use a hand to demonstrate the different parts of the brain. And when your emotional lid is flipped, it's called your lid is flipped. And that's really when your prefrontal cortex can't engage at all. That's why coping skills, helping kids deep breathing, calming down, because we want to have all these rational conversations, but if their lid is flipped, they can't because that part of their brain is not engaged. So that's a helpful resource to look up and even show your mentee. It's becoming a lot more common for young people to learn about trauma, about brain development, so they can actually understand what's going on in their own body. And that can be a helpful thing to go over with your mentee. Trauma also rewires brains. So we say it's safe to assume a lot of our mentees have been through some type of trauma. Sometimes we know about it, sometimes we don't. But that also causes different reactions with the fight, flight, freeze. They get triggered in different ways. But the good news is that the brain is very resilient. So the brain development, trauma, it can be rewired. And a lot of the positive things you're doing as a mentor is actually helping to heal and helping these connections in the brain to develop in a positive way. But we like to just point this out almost to build empathy of when you think about why doesn't my mentee have more willpower? Sometimes it is they're developing those skills. So don't just automatically be like, dang, my mentee sucks at these things that I think I'm really good at or they should be good at. Just remember that their brain is still developing. Okay, so for the last tool, so the first tool was the Big Life Journal for all of these categories. The second tool is talk to your mentoring specialist or even talk to each other on the app. There is a chat feature that we've broken you guys into regions. So you are welcome on the app to throw in a question if you're like looking for a fun activity to do, or anyone else struggling with a very quiet mentee. What good questions have you had? Like feel free to talk to each other and talk to your mentoring specialist to get ideas. The third tool is the Level All Video Library. And I am going to bring us back to the Skills for Success landing page. So when in doubt, come to this landing page and you can find all of these links. So Skills for Success, Big Life Journal again. This is the Level All Video Library. It's completely free to actually us as a program. Again, we did not create this. We found out it existed and that they give it to nonprofits for free. So you'll see instructions here for creating your account. There's an intro video that tells you how to go through it. And I actually just realized I forgot to share with sound. So let me try again. Because I'm going to actually show you one of these. There's literally over 500 topics on this online library, and I'm going to show you a list that we've curated to make it a little more manageable. But you can come here and there's different like journeys that you can do and pick, but the Discover tool is your friend because you can search pretty much any topic and see if they have one on it. But since we're talking about willpower, they have one on grit. And you just click through. So this is written for high schoolers. So for middle schoolers, it's not quite written for them, but it still is not written in a super advanced way. But they know young people's brain, the developing brain, and the TikTok culture right now does not watch 10-minute videos or do 5 pages of reading. So every video is usually around 60 seconds, or the reading is about 2 minutes at the most before you're clicking and doing something else. So just so you get a taste of it, I'm going to show you the intro video here.
Grit means the ability to overcome obstacles even when it's hard. When people think of grit, they often think of the extreme examples, like competing in Ironman, Spartan, crawl in the mud endurance challenge. But grit is what makes a difference in all of life's challenges, big and small. It can mean continuing to study for that vocabulary quiz until you can answer every question right twice. It can mean giving yourself the goal of talking to a relative on the phone once a month and sticking to it. Studies have shown that grit is one of the strongest predictors of success. And here's the good news. Grit can be developed. You don't need to be born with it. It's like a muscle that can be strengthened. In this guide, we're going to introduce you to grit and all of its benefits, and show you how you can strengthen it in yourself. So let's stick to it, see what grit is all about.
So intro video, and then you just come down and you work your way through. So this is another intro video to grit, but then you just click down and you can see videos, there's some reading. This is actually meant to be mobile friendly, so it's designed to actually work better on a phone than a computer, so don't be afraid to pull up on your phone. There's lots of swiping, clicking, and this, we hope, fosters some deeper conversation. And when you're like, dang, I hope my mentee has that grit, and you're like, I don't know how to talk about grit, or how do I teach about it? This exists to walk you through it, so you don't have to know all of these topics on your own. So just kind of click through. Here's some case studies they give of what it practically looks like. And then there's even a little quiz here you can do with your mentee on, are they gritty? This is just one example. Like I said, there's 500 topics on here. And if you get overwhelmed by that, you come back to our Skills for Success and Level All video playlist. I have curated ones I think are really good, once again, broken into vision. So these are the topics: define your version of success, let others see who you really are, find what motivates you, elevator pitch. And once you have an account made, you can just click on these and it'll take you directly to that one. Or you can search those topics back at Level All on their search feature at the top here. But you'll see even on these, become a phlebotomist, find what motivates you, your alternatives to college. These are other topics that exist there. And then on Way Power, have it broken down into making decisions, future options, willpower. There's ones on mindset, habits, overcoming procrastination, how to manage your time, how to do your homework. So there's just a lot of different ones. And then common topics, there's a whole list for getting a job, finances 101. If you're wanting to talk about budgeting and different things, there's videos for that too. And we've made one even for summer. So this was on our Summer Spark page, that if you did all of these ones, I'll get you a gift card. And I thought these just would set a mentee up well for summer and to work on some tangible skills. Okay, that was a lot of me talking. Level All Skills for Success page. This is the instructions for how to set up an account. Keep scrolling down for the curated list, and you can even watch the intro video with your mentee, so you and your mentee understand what's this all about. Any clarification for Level All? Anyone think you're like, this seems helpful, or any like, I don't think my mentee's ready for this? Where are you guys kind of at on how it's landing?
I think it's a pretty good resource. I mean, introduce it, and just show them the variety of things that you can do with it. And I'm sure they'll, whether it's hard or easy, I'm sure if I just say, hey, pick one and we'll try it just for demo, I think that'd be a good way to start with, and just to see what's his level of engagement.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And feel free to use it and just search any other topic that I don't have listed here. Good chance they have something on it. The phlebotomist one was, the mentoring specialist came to me and said, do you know any way a mentee is in like 9th or 10th grade and is interested in phlebotomy? I was like, yep. And just, we looked it up, and they have literally, here's the career in phlebotomy, here's how much money you make, here's the jobs, here's the education needed, and it just walked them through all of it. So yeah, it's a really good tool that I was excited to kind of stumble upon this last year. So if you have any feedback as you start using it, please let me know. This is my bucket of my full-time job is the Skills for Success, our summer programming, and our scholars program. So please let me know if you ever have any questions on it. And there's a QR code on that workbook page to take you directly to that Skills for Success page again. So, and it's on the Mentor Zone. We're trying to find as many different ways to get stuff in front of you, but when in doubt, go to the app. And if you click on resources, it'll also link you to the Skills for Success pages and things that you need. Okay.
All right,
we are wrapping up.
Yeah, we're wrapping up, hopefully done here in just a couple minutes. So like Angela said, this is all her department. You can see she took care of all of the things for summer. Hopefully some of you participated in that. We're looking forward to graduation with our mentees. That's the big picture for us as they transition to those other outcomes. And our next step for you after this is hopefully we have an annual match celebration with you, where we'll look at your roadmap or look at some of those goals that you've been setting with your mentee and your mentoring specialist. So hopefully we'll be able to do another check-in with you at that point. Please send us a picture of your roadmap. Hopefully you filled that out. It's not to grade you as a mentor. It's so that your mentoring specialist, we can tell them that you attended. This is how you've identified your mentee and personality. This is what you guys are hoping to work on. And then your mentoring specialist has a better idea on how to support you. Like I said, you're the one who knows where your mentee is on some of these outcomes that we hope. And if you didn't understand some of those outcomes or anything like that, you can always talk it over more with your mentee. You can write a little question, or your mentoring specialist, you can write a question on that as well. The very last thing that we would love from you is, oh yeah, Angela said you can text or email that picture to your mentoring specialist. But the very last thing, those of you who have a workbook or those of you can on your screen, we would really, really appreciate a survey for this. And I know everyone asks you to do a survey, but for us, it's really important. You're the first people to do the online training. And we've really been wondering if it is engaging and it's helpful or if it's just long. And just trying to find an alternative to our in-person training. If people like 1 2-hour training or 2 1-hour trainings, how did you receive this? Was it helpful? And I love that we have a lot of different backgrounds on here with age and technology access, but also with your mentees. It's a lot of information in 2 hours. And so we would just love to see how you received that. And yeah, and how we can improve this for the people coming. And we do have them in person as well. I know obviously you guys all picked on Zoom. And so we have them also take the survey based on their in-person experience. So that's it. We tried to talk as fast as we could for 2 hours.
Ray, do you want to just close us out in prayer, and then once you guys take the survey, you're good to go. But Maria and I will stay on too if you guys have individual questions or can you remind me, or can we go back to? We're happy to field any of those, but we'll kind of officially wrap up.
Yeah, we will drip some of this back out in email too. So like I said that. So let's go ahead and pray. We should probably start it with prayer, Angela. You write that in the workbook. Here we are. So Lord, we thank you for this time. I thank you for technology and the way that it is able to connect us. Lord, I thank you for all of these resources, and we think of the imago Dei of our mentees, right? The image in which you've created them. And when we're learning and caring about their strengths and their personalities, Lord, I pray that that's how these mentors have received that we are not trying to fix or repair our mentees in any way, but rather continue to help them as they're growing into who you've designed them to be, Lord. Let us not forget the reason why that you've called each one of us to be mentors, and that we need your help and we need your guidance and we need your discernment. And so we thank you for these tools, and I pray they are of help and of service to our mentors. And I pray that you multiply their time and you just give them each a kiss on their forehead for a job well done as your faithful servants. We love you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone. Angela and I will stay on, but if you need to go, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your contribution to Save Our Youth. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Will that survey pop up on the screen?
Oh, what was that?
will the survey pop up on the
Oh, I meant to
screen?
type it in the chat. Yes, here you go. Let me type it in here. Sorry, I forgot. If you don't know how to use it, the QR code's on there, but if not, I typed it in the chat too.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ken.
Can I ask about the back to school event on August 9th, I think? I mentioned it to my mentee and she seemed like nervous to go to a big event. I was
Yeah.
curious if I want to be able to describe it to her. Like what could she expect there?
Yeah. You want me to go, Ange?
Before.
We're going to be at a church and it has indoor and outdoor. Now, I haven't personally visited this space, but from what it sounds like, it should be pretty decent size. We do expect like 200 people, but because you can come inside and outside, we'll have a section where you register, they can get a backpack. They take their backpack to their car or your car, whatever she can pick. And then we have activities. So we have like a craft station. We have, I forget all the different stations that we have. If you've ever come to a Save Our Youth event, we always have like activities. Then they come in and we have food. It's Mexican food, like walking taco bags and green chili and stuff. And then we have a dessert bar table. We're gonna have a lemonade bar flavored with like fruit and stuff. And then we have a guest speaker. And then they can go back and finish more activities, or they can leave if they're ready to go. So it's 2.5 hours, but it's like drop-in style. You don't have to be there the whole time.
Okay.
So it is a larger group, but you're never put on the spot. So she's not going to have to get up in front of people, or she doesn't have to interact with other people. There's opportunity if you want to, but you guys could literally just come and do your thing. But there will be a decent number of people, and families of both mentees and mentors are invited. So if she wants to come with her parents or siblings, everyone's invited as well. Anyone in your life is invited. So it's kind of a cool way to have a little bit more of a family interaction. So if that would make her feel more comfortable, yeah, the whole family's invited, and any siblings can get a backpack. And these are backpacks filled with school supplies, so they get to pick out the one that they like. And hopefully that helps them feel a little more confident stepping back into the school year.
Okay, awesome.
Does that answer the specific concern?
Yes, I think she was worried it would be like group games where she has to like perform or something.
Yeah. We've done some group games in the past, but even that's voluntary. If you want to come do the watermelon eating contest, or if you want to sign up for this, we don't force anyone to do anything.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And Nikki, if she doesn't want to come, she can still get a backpack. So you can come to our office, and we have like just a private game room down there too. Like you can do art, you can play pool table, and we'll have the backpacks, I think the last week of July, like by the 1st of August or something like that. So you just ask your specialist, and you can come pick one out privately or whatever too. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you guys for the training.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, Ken, Melissa, anything else from you guys?
Nope, I was just listening and learning.
Okay. And Jerry, I realized Jerry joined a little bit later. We do have it recorded, but then we'll have one in person coming up too.
Okay, will you automatically send out the recordings, or to the people who
was registered?
Or just okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that we had Jerry or registered. So if we didn't, because I know you probably sent it out today, we'll make sure you have a copy of it too. And
yeah, that'd be great. Because I'll send it to Jerry and Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still trying to decide, Melissa, and actually I'll stop recording now.